There's a fabric test that stylists in Milan have used for decades, and most women have never heard of it. Takes 4 seconds. You touch the fabric, you let it fall, and you already know if the piece is going to look expensive on a hanger or expensive on a body, because those are two very different things. Here's what nobody tells you. 7 textures separate a $50 blouse that reads like $500 from a $500 blouse that reads like $50. Most women have never been taught to read fabric the way a tailor reads it. They shop with their eyes. The women who are actually being watched, admired, remembered, they shop with their hands. Today I'm decoding exactly what they're feeling for, and once you learn it, you will never touch a rack the same way again. Imagine 2 women standing in the same doorway, both in cream blouses. One blouse catches the light and holds it in one place, a hard, flat shine that moves when she moves, almost plastic in the way it reflects. The other blouse absorbs the light. It has a soft, low luster that shifts gently across the fabric instead of bouncing off it. You would swear the second woman spent 3 times more, and you would be right, but not for the reason you think. It isn't the price tag, it's the weight. The first detail is weight over shine. Heavy fabric drapes. Light, cheap fabric floats and clings and catches on itself. The second detail is fiber composition. Silk, wool, and heavy cotton carry a natural, almost dull sheen, while polyester and cheap poly blends throw off a bright, synthetic gleam that photographs beautifully under store lighting and terribly under daylight. The third detail is how the fabric falls when you drop it. Pick up a hem and let it go. Expensive fabric falls in a slow, heavy curve. Cheap fabric springs back or floats down too fast, like paper. In practice, this means before you buy anything, you do the drop test. Hold the fabric up, release it, and watch how long it takes to settle. A silk charmeuse blouse or a heavy ponte dress will fall like water. A polyester blouse will flutter and land in seconds, almost weightless. Once you feel the difference once, you will never unlearn it, and you will start doing it in every store you walk into without even thinking. The second code lives in the surface itself, matte over glossy. There's a reason luxury fashion houses almost never send a model down the runway in anything with a hard shine, unless that shine is intentional couture satin. Everyday luxury reads matte. Consider 2 women in the same navy trousers. One pair has a slight synthetic sheen that flashes under office lighting. The other pair is a wool blend gabardine, completely matte, absorbing light instead of throwing it back. The matte pair looks tailored. The shiny pair looks like it came off a rack meant for a much younger, much less discerning shopper. The secret here has 3 parts. First, avoid anything labeled 100% polyester unless it's a technical piece meant to look technical, like a rain shell. Second, look for fabric blends that include at least some natural fiber: wool, cotton, linen, silk, or viscose, because these fibers diffuse light instead of reflecting it directly. Third, check the fabric under 2 kinds of light before buying: the warm, flattering light of the fitting room, and if you can, near a window or the door. Synthetic shine reveals itself in daylight every single time. To apply this, build your foundation pieces: blazers, trousers, coats in matte wool blends or heavy cotton twill, and save any shine for small, deliberate accents, like a silk camisole glimpsed under a blazer or a satin clutch. Shine used sparingly reads as intention. Shine used everywhere reads as an attempt. And wait until you hear the next one. This is the detail most women get backwards without ever realizing it. The third code is the hand feel test, and it's the one most women skip because it feels almost impolite, like you're not supposed to touch the clothing that much in a store. But this is exactly what separates a woman who understands fabric from a woman who's simply shopping by color. Picture 2 women feeling the same beige coat on a rack. One runs her hand across it once and moves on. The other stops, rubs a section between her fingers, checks the inside seam, and only then decides. She isn't being difficult. She's reading information the fabric is giving her for free. The first thing her fingers are checking for is temperature. Natural fibers feel cool and then warm quickly against skin, while synthetics stay oddly cool or feel slightly tacky no matter how long you hold them. The second is texture under pressure. Press a section of fabric firmly for 3 seconds. Natural fiber recovers slowly and evenly. Cheap synthetic either springs back instantly, looking unnaturally smooth, or holds a visible crease that won't release. The third is the sound. Yes, the sound. Rub 2 layers of the fabric together near your ear. Silk and good cotton make almost no sound. Cheap polyester makes a faint, telltale rustle, almost like a whisper of plastic. Use this the next time you're standing in front of a rack deciding between two nearly identical coats. Skip the price tag entirely and run this test first. The coat that passes all three: temperature, recovery, and silence, is the one that will still look elegant 3 winters from now, long after the cheaper one has pilled, gone shiny at the elbows, and been quietly donated. The fourth code concerns structure, how a fabric holds its own shape without you. 2 women walk into the same restaurant wearing white button-down shirts. One shirt collapses slightly at the shoulders and wrinkles the moment she sits down. The other holds a crisp, architectural line even after an hour at the table, the collar staying upright, the sleeves keeping their fold. The difference isn't the cut of the shirt. It's the density of the weave. Look for 3 things. First, thread count and weave tightness, held up to light. A quality poplin or Oxford cotton shows almost no gaps between threads, while a cheap shirt lets light through in a visible, uneven pattern. Second, weight in the hand. A quality dress shirt has a substantial, almost cool heft, never paper thin. Third, how the fabric behaves at the seams. Quality fabric holds a pressed seam crisply for hours, while cheap fabric softens and rounds out within minutes of movement. This is why one navy blazer from a heritage tailoring house can outlast 5 fast fashion blazers combined, and why a single well-structured white shirt does more for how you're perceived in a room than an entire closet of soft, forgettable ones. The next detail is the one that separates women who simply dress well from women who are remembered for how they dress, because it isn't about any single fabric. It's about what happens when 2 fabrics meet. The 5th code is texture mixing, and it's the detail that quiet luxury built its entire reputation on. A woman in an all-smooth outfit, smooth silk blouse, smooth trousers, smooth flats, looks pleasant but forgettable, almost flat, like a single note held too long. A woman who pairs a soft cashmere sweater with the cool structure of a leather belt, or a fluid silk skirt with the texture of a woven straw bag, creates contrast the eye can't stop returning to. This is the technique behind almost every look that gets described as effortless. The rule has 3 layers. First, pair soft against structured, a cashmere or fine knit top against tailored trousers or a leather skirt. Second, pair matte against a single point of subtle sheen, a matte wool coat with a satin lining glimpsed at the cuff, or a matte dress with pearl jewelry. Third, never mix more than 2 textures in one look, or the contrast collapses into visual noise instead of intentional interest. A cream cashmere sweater, tailored camel trousers, and a structured leather bag is the formula. Soft meets structured meets smooth leather, 3 textures, each doing its job, none competing. The 6th code is neat gauge, and it's the one that ages a look faster than almost anything else. Bulky, loosely knit sweaters, the kind with visible chunky stitches, read as casual at best and dated at worst, no matter how expensive the yarn. Fine gauge knits, where the stitches are small and tightly woven, read as refined at every price point. Picture 2 women in beige sweaters at the same lunch. One is wearing a chunky cable knit that adds visible bulk through the shoulders. The other is wearing a fine merino or cashmere knit that schemes the body and layers cleanly under a blazer. Look for 3 markers. First, stitch density, hold the knit up to light. Fine gauge shows tight, uniform stitches with almost no visible gaps. Second, drape, fine gauge knit falls close to the body, while chunky knit stands away from it, adding volume you didn't choose. Third, layering ability, fine gauge knits slide easily under blazers and coats, while bulky knits fight against structure and ruin the line of anything layered over them. Fine gauge knitwear in neutral tones is one of the most quietly expensive investments a woman over 50 can make, precisely because it disappears into every outfit instead of announcing itself. The 7th and final code is seasonal fiber discipline, and it's the detail that the most polished women follow almost unconsciously. Linen and lightweight cotton in the warm months. Wool, cashmere, and heavier cotton in the cold ones. The mistake most women make is reaching for synthetic blends that promise to work year-round, and end up looking slightly wrong in every season instead of perfectly right in any of them. The 3 markers here are simple. First, natural fiber breathes and creases in a way that reads as intentional. Linen wrinkles are expected, even elegant. Synthetic wrinkles look accidental and cheap. Second, natural fiber ages gracefully, softening and improving with wear, while synthetic fiber pills and dulls within a season. Third, natural fiber matches the season's light, crisp linen in bright summer sun, soft wool in low winter light, while synthetic fabric looks slightly artificial in both. A linen shirt dress in July and a wool coat in January do more for how a woman is perceived than any accessory ever could, because they signal something accessories can't fake, that she understands not just what to wear, but when. At 50, you already have something most 20-year-olds are still years from developing: the patience to feel fabric before you buy it and the memory to remember which pieces actually lasted. That isn't a limitation. That's expertise most department store clerks don't even have. Elegance was never about spending more. It was about knowing exactly what you were touching, and exactly what it would still look like in 5 years. You've had that instinct all along. Now you have the language for it. Which of these 7 fabric codes are you already following without realizing it, and which one surprised you? Tell me in the comments. And if this changed how you'll shop this week, subscribe. I share style codes like this every week, built specifically for women who want to look like they've always known.